Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you're listening. Right now we're recording. It is 10/29/2017. The Knicks just beat up the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that's one of those bittersweet victories. We'll dive into that and the week that was on this episode of Talking Knicks. All right, so I'm joined by a lot of basketball and Talking Knicks correspondent. Is that how you want to be labeled? Greg Poon?
That sounds good to me. That sounds important enough.
How was your week and weekend, Greggy?
It was good, man. I went out, drank a couple, and then I pretty much slept the entire day today.
Any Stranger Things happen in your weekend?
Yeah. I watched Stranger Things. I'm up to episode 7. I got 2 left.
I think you and me are at the same spot. It's good. What a great show.
Yeah,
so much better than Talking Knicks.
I was watching, and I was like, with my roommate, Mike, and I was like, Mike, this is a good show.
Yeah. No, it's funny because it's like a sci-fi genre that you think a lot of people would normally hate, but it mixes like this little kid innocence with like a couple casual jokes and conspiracy theory, and the world's obsessed with it.
Yeah. So we're just going to talk Stranger Things, right?
We're just going to spoil all the parts of the new episode, a new season of Stranger Things on Talking Knicks. No, we'll mix in some tasteful jokes, but first let's cover the week that was in Knicks land. We opened the week at Boston. We faced the Celtics. We lost 110-89. Knicks looked pretty sad for most of the game. The only thing of notes from the Knicks side, Cantor had 19 boards. Again, he's been mauling most nights he's out there. I've got an important topic later that I think we need to talk about Cantor. And then I mean this is kind of tough. It was Porzingis' first stinker. I don't know if we want to give that credit to Boston's defense or if he was just due to one, but I think he finished with 13 points. Pretty bad numbers on the day.
I didn't watch, so as far as I'm concerned, it didn't happen.
That game never happened then.
That's good. So Kristaps is just one of the best players in the NBA in my book.
And yeah, that one was pretty tough because it was kind of like you were starting to get thirsty for that first Knicks win, and especially at Boston, that would have been great. It was not happening. But the first win did happen at home against the title contender Brooklyn Nets. I don't know. Would you say that?
They've been putting up points. They were the league leading scorers going into that game.
Yeah. So the Knicks got the big W there. The point guards is kind of what of note for me. Kristaps did his usual 30 thing. The fun fact they dropped at the end, the first Knick ever to have 30 points in 4 of his first 5 games. But Jarrett Jack enters the starting lineup and looks serviceable / all pro.
Yeah, I think he was doing what we wanted him to do. He was just like, go out there and just don't do stupid stuff.
Like be an NBA point guard, and he did that, and it was incredible. And yeah. I think the bigger highlight was Frank Nitty's home debut at the Garden, French Sinatra, whatever you want to call him. And it's a big topic, so I won't do the whole thing, but he just showed flashes.
Yeah.
Which, again, we're setting the bar very low for a point guard play. But he showed some very good flashes and passes. I don't know. That was like me combining both Knicks broadcasters. But the Knicks get the W. And then they play Cleveland tonight. And they kind of run at Cleveland. They run them out of their own building. I mean, obviously, Cleveland going through an early season we don't care stage, or maybe they're in trouble at this point. I don't know. If you want to hear questions like that, listen to a lot of basketball podcast that drops every Monday. We cover more of the league besides the best team, the New York Knicks. But tonight I think the story is Tim Hardaway Jr. He finally 34 points, 8 assists, which is kind of awesome. Some funky stats in this game, man. Courtney Lee with 10 boards.
Here, I got your stat of the game. You ready? This isn't the Knicks though.
Okay.
Tristan Thompson, 1 point, 0 assists, 0 rebounds. That's his stat line for the night. 19 minutes. That just shows you how big of a beast Cantor is on the board sometimes.
That's incredibly bad.
Yeah, for the person that gets the rebounds for your team.
Yeah, literally. Cavaliers just looked so disinterested. I mean, like oddly disinterested. But
I mean, a lot of the people on the Cavs still think they're good at basketball is the problem. You got Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, and J.R. Smith all like. I'm still a number one option. I don't know. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. At the end of the game, JR was like, I'll take care of this. And I was like, no, you shouldn't.
Yeah, that end of the game turned into that old NBA-style basketball that you hear like your uncle talk about that hasn't watched an NBA game in 15 years. And he's like, people don't care in the NBA. And like those last 8 minutes, like absolutely.
Yeah.
But hey, so the Knicks get a W, making their early playoff push. But let's get into the layup lines. Couple small topics to get us warm, even though it seems like we already got our fastball going, especially if we start talking more Stranger Things.
Yeah.
But the first thing, and I have to make it a small topic because I hope it doesn't become that large of a topic, but Jarrett Jack looked good. I know coming into the year, our fellow Knicks and a Lob podcaster Tom Piccolo gave me some guff for saying I was hopeful on Jack, and I get why I shouldn't be. He's like 34. He's basically missed the past 2 seasons, but he's just playing solid NBA point guard, which is what we were begging for. I mean, his stat lines aren't super flashy. He had 9 assists tonight. 9 assists, 2 turnovers. He only had 2 points. His plus minus was plus 22 though. So, man, that's been just so great to see. I don't know what thoughts you got on J Jack.
J Jack, man, like I said, he's just being a steady guy. I know a couple times he is like taking a couple shots that I was like maybe slow down. Like he during the last game, the Nets game. In the first half, he just like shot a pull-up jumper before passing the ball at any point in the possession. Tonight, he took a couple jumpers I was against, but that's just one or two mistakes compared to what we've been dealing with Sessions and Baker not even able to dribble the ball. Like, we'll definitely take it. I mean, you want to keep your point guard involved too, so he's allowed to take those shots.
Yeah, and I guess the bigger part of note is Jarrett Jack's been around a while. Just a solid guy. He's facilitating an NBA offense, which there were times when you were worried if Baker or Sessions could get it past the half-court stripe. So Jack looking solid. Definitely of note and definitely much better basketball to watch.
Yes.
And then the other small topic, and just because it still had to be mentioned, Tim Hardaway Jr. was laying bricks the first 2 games this week. I mean, and I guess the thing, again, this is the positive twist on it. I mean, you could clearly see he was like a mess. He was rushing shots. He was a shooter trying to get out of a slump, which usually is pretty ugly to watch for a little bit. But again, like I said tonight, and I think you and I both noted it at the end of the Brooklyn game, he hit a couple shots, and it was like, okay, is this what's going to get him going? And man, the box score tonight: 34 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, 5 of 10 from 3, 11 of 19 from the field. So that was huge to see, because if he did lay another just dud, that would have been a big topic.
Just 5 in a row to start the year would have been unfortunate. And I mean, against the Nets, he was getting those wide open looks that we wanted. He was running off screens. He was doing everything right, except he was just missing the shots. He just wasn't, like you said, he wasn't getting set, just off balance, fading, leaning. But today, I mean, he was finishing at the rim. He was just knocking down shots that he shouldn't be hitting, to be honest, just knocking down nice shots.
Well, that's the part that's interesting, because we still don't know we don't know if Tim Hardaway Jr. is a 15-point per game Tim Hardaway Jr. or a 20-plus points per game Tim Hardaway Jr. I know that's optimistic, but man, if there's one thing I'd tell everyone to look at, we should probably post things like this, and we will eventually. But at the end of the third quarter, they kind of went iso ball Tim Hardaway Jr. on Jay Crowder, and he diced up Jay Crowder pretty good, who's a known solid defender. And then LeBron was at the rim, and he still finished. It was just – it was really nice.
Yeah, that was good.
I guess I don't see that on the Knicks court enough. But, yeah, I think that was an obvious slump. Still had to be talked about. Hopefully he keeps this hot streak going, though, because when he's clicking, he's a baller.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And tonight you got him going for 34, Porzingis going for 32. I think this was what we were looking for coming into the season.
That's the big thing nowadays in the NBA is your big two or your big three. I mean, we're going to get in. I mentioned Tim Hardaway Jr.'s potential a little bit. We're going to talk about Kristaps a little bit. Man, if those guys get rolling, they're at least points wise, those guys could be up there in top NBA duos. But that's irrelevant. So
I think I'm ready to say that they're one of the top NBA duos after tonight.
Ever.
Yeah.
MJ and Pippen, no. So good, we got that. We've offended all of our NBA fans. We'll move on to our next segment, the old mid-range floater, where you're getting you're in the lane, you're pulling up. It feels good when it goes in, but it's ugly when it misses. But we got the Kanter Hernangomez situation. I think that's a developing situation in Knicks land. I know the front office came out and said Hernangomez not playing is part of his learning curve and he's part of the 3-year plan or something along those lines. I mean, yes and no. This is a young dude that seems like he should be on the court. He got another DNP, and when he's been playing well.
Yeah.
The obvious other factor in this is Kanter, Kanter's been kind of a beast. He's got like a 25 PER, another inflated fake stat to show when big men are playing well. But I guess the question is, how do we want this to sort out? Do we want this to sort out? What are your thoughts, Greg?
I mean, Kyle O'Quinn comes into play, and I guess we just want him to turn into something. We want to trade him eventually. We must. I mean, I think. But like, do we? He's good. We could keep him.
I guess I'll interject a little bit. I mean, Kyle O'Quinn kind of is what he is. I mean, he's still youngish, but he's going to be a rotational 4 or 5 guy who comes in, gives you effort. He's probably a starter on a bad team, a bench guy on a good team. But these other two have wide ranges of potential.
Yeah. They just do it differently. Kanter's just a bull on the boards, nonstop. I mean, and then Willie just all kinds of offensive moves. His post moves are like elite, to be honest. Like, it's unbelievable. Like how smooth he is down low, lefty, righty, hitting the mid-range jumper. His offensive potential is way above Kanter, other than rebounding, other than offensive boards, I would say.
Yeah, it sounds homerish Knicks fan, but you kind of have to see it. It's a weird mix of like good, like really good post moves and like the guy you play at the Y and you're like, how's this dude getting buckets? Like it looks a little unorthodox, but it looks premeditated and the dude finishes. So I think the other thing to factor in is a lot of his minutes are against second units, so he's probably not getting the creme de la creme. But I mean, do we still want Willie getting, 10 minutes a night, 15 minutes a night, or do we want it? Is it going to be like we're waiting for injury or matchup so he can play a full 20 minutes or what?
I mean, I think any time is good time. I mean, when you see him getting into garbage time at the end, I'll take that over a DNP CD. So
that's the thing. I think all of Knicks Nation is saying this dude has to get some minutes.
Yeah.
And I think this is part of a bigger topic, and we don't have to deep dive, but it was one of my questions coming into the season. Do we see Cantor being a part of the future of this team?
It's a hell of a question.
Right?
It's hard to say. We'll
He's-
see. We got to see what the cap situation is after his deal expires, and then go from there. Because Willie's making like one of the best contracts in the NBA if we put him in the game.
Yeah.
For a
Yeah.
bench, for a person who doesn't play, that's $0 is what you would prefer to pay that person.
That's the thing.
That's what I
Cantor's
make.
that's what we're getting, folks. Yeah, I mean, Cantor's banging down low. He fits offensively with Porzingis, pretty awesome. IMO, but it's you're right. I mean, the dude makes a pretty penny now. What's he going to be worth next year? Where's Willie at? It's definitely something to watch. The other thing that I know, this is more so a you and me thing than analytics. If we had one of our analytics guys on the show, do we have analytics guys? But I don't. Cantor's like a fun dude. Like he celebrates. He's like a locker room dude. Like I said, like my buddies in OKC, they loved him. Like when Durant left, he used to rip into Durant, and he was all about Brody and that kind of stuff. So with a bunch of young guys in that core, you're trying to fill. Like that's somewhat important, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's great. You want to have a good culture. I mean, that's what we like about Willie too, is that he's Porzingis' best friend. They were used to play with each other on Spain, and you're like, that's great. You know, they probably really like each other. That's perfect dynamic. Have two guys who are like actually really good friends in the front court. You see LeBron getting Dwayne Wade this year, was really happy about it, even though Dwayne Wade's old and not as good as he once was. But friendship, you know, you can't put a price on friendship.
This is a friendship and Stranger Things podcast.
The thing
Please.
we need to see about Willie, we need to put Willie in the game to see if he can pass the ball, because Cantor is a black hole. Like you hear about it, but then you see it firsthand, and it's pretty funny. He does not look to pass the ball when he gets the ball in the post. Through five games this year, he's got 2 assists.
That's pretty rough. It's comical. Even when he gets it in, like, it's almost like a fun like drinking game, Knicks drinking game to play. Like you see him grab it in some spots, and you're like, he's got to pass it, right?
Yeah.
And then no, he just goes for it.
Double teamed, he's going for it. I got it down low. I'm going for it.
There's
Knicks drinking game. If Cantor gets an assist, you have to shotgun a Four Loko, an old Four Loko.
Yeah,
that's how seldom it happens.
At a family event, so that'll become part of our trademark.
Yeah.
So yeah, something to watch. Again, kind of a better situation than a lot of situations on the Knicks. So we'll keep track of that. I think this is a quickie. I just wanted to get it out there. Doug McDermott. He had a super efficient week. I'm trying to let me see. I mean, again, he only took 1 shot tonight. I think he took like 5 shots on the week, and he made 4 of them, something like that.
We'll take that.
No, that's wrong. He missed 2 threes in the Brooklyn win, but
4 for 6.
4 for 6. He played efficient this week. He got some good looks. He got the looks that, you know, Dougie can't create on his own, right? He's got the offense has to be flowing, or, you know, he got a great look off of an offensive rebound. And it's another position for the Knicks, the 3 that we've talked about. You know, we're going to force kind of Tim Hardaway Jr. and Courtney Lee into those minutes. But there's minutes at the 3 that are looking to be taken out there. And it's kind of, I look at it as an offensive defensive thing right now, with Doug being the offensive threat. And Lance Thomas, who we first saw action from tonight, who, man, I've been critical on Lance before because it's kind of easy to do. When that dude plays defense, he's legit.
Yeah, it's good.
Like there was like 3 times in a row he was bodying LeBron, which the league hasn't been able to do for 14 years or whatever it's been.
Yeah, and with Dougie, I'll say we want him to become like a Kyle Korver, right?
Right.
And I don't know if you, I know you watched tonight, but I don't know if you noticed the Cavs were like way too reliant on Kyle Korver.
Yeah.
They were like, oh no, it's getting bad. We need 3 points right now to cut into this lead. Let's pass the ball to Kyle Korver. Like they called a timeout and like out of the play, out of the timeout, inbounds to LeBron. Immediate like full court pass to Kyle Korver, who shot a corner three
Sure.
after like 3 seconds and missed. And it was like,
Yeah.
that's the play you ran out of your timeout.
It's the offense.
That you just throw a full court pass to Kyle Korver. I don't know. Don't do that. We want McDermott to be like Kyle Korver, but we don't want to run our offense for Kyle Korver like the Cavs do. And that's why they're not going to make the playoffs, and the Knicks are.
So I guess, I mean, I'm going into roles a little bit, and I mean, if you start adding the shooting guards at the 3, which Tim and Courtney Lee are going to get their minutes. Courtney Lee, first ever double-double tonight. Shout out.
Really? That's true?
Yeah. Yeah, he got 10 boards. So, like, trade him now, right? Is that rude? We like Courtney, but, like, he's not a fit. If we can get first or whatever we can, that'd be great. But, like, so I guess that's what I'm saying. So, say this season goes along, we trade Courtney Lee to a contender. That opens up a lot of minutes because you're playing Tim a lot at the 2. That opens up the 3. I mean, do we want to see – are we already caved to Doug McDermott being like a full-out role player in this league? Like when he comes in, he's going to shoot a couple threes. Or, I mean, are there expectations this dude can have 20-point games and maybe be with the finishing unit, something like that?
I think regular season, you can look for him to explode like that now and again. And I think the Knicks at this point should be planning to be a regular season team. Like
Yeah.
with Steve Novak, I think is a good comp with McDermott. Once it got to the playoffs, he was just unplayable. Like
Yeah.
it was you can't play defense, and we know that you're on the court because you're about to shoot a 3. So we're just, hey, everybody, don't leave him. So he's not going to get open. And so he'll be like Steve Novak, except probably better, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not a better shooter, but more utilized. He's more athletic.
When Novak had that magical year with the Knicks, he was kind of towards the end of his career. I mean, Doug still got some good years ahead of him. So I don't know. I guess you're right. I think the expectation is role player, but you'd like to see him. We're hopeful that there's those nights out there where it's kind of him, KP, and Tim Hardaway Jr. just bombing it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I know he's dunked it a couple times in the preseason. I don't know if he's dunked it in the regular season.
We like that.
Yeah. Novak wasn't dunking. You don't see Kyle Korver dunking there very often.
I think the last time he did, there was an actual like bench freak out. I'm remembering that vaguely, but I guess the other thing we should just touch upon this because it was a big rumor earlier in the week. Eric Bledsoe, like we don't want him, right?
I mean, we do if
like what
if this was a different year, if we had a different plan.
Like is there any trade that you'd feel like happy about? Like if it was straight like, and not to throw our boy we throw under the bus, but if it was like Ron Baker and a 2nd round pick for Bledsoe, like are we happy with that?
Are we allowed to trade Eric Bledsoe after that for?
I know I just thought about that too, because like value wise, you have to do that. But no, right?
Yeah, like if we weren't allowed to do that, it'd be tough. We don't want to win, but like now that these last 2 games we've looked good, like actually look good. What's the plan again? Back to the drawing board.
No, we're not going back to the drawing board,
I'm going back.
Greg's going back. I don't know. That's the message for now, unless the Knicks really start reeling off wins, is that we don't want Eric Bledsoe because all he's going to do is not fit our timeline and win us useless games that we don't need to be doing. So I just need to squash the Bledsoe bug. That's a strange thing.
That's reference.
Fair. No, it's not, but
it should have been. Should have been, though. Am I right?
Make our fans think about it. So let's let's go to the big ones, or the big one for me. And he could probably be the big one every episode. I called it the dagger. Tom called it backpedaling. I don't know. We're figuring it out, folks. But I think the most important part of Nick Nation is Kristaps Porzingis. This dude is playing like an absolute superstar, not like we figured that the numbers would kind of creep up a little bit and like some of the percentages would go down because Melo's not there as kind of a safety net type thing. And oh yeah, I mean, we're still just shocked everything this guy does because he's a 7'3" Latvian dude. But I mean, coming into this game, he was averaging 26.5 and 8. And I mean, he just bettered that tonight, right? He got
32 and 12.
32 and 12. So, I mean, this guy's we'll round some numbers, but say he's at 28 and 9 right now on the year. I mean, we think those numbers have to come down, right? Question mark.
But if we're just giving him the ball every single game and let him do what he wants, I think he could. Like you originally on the first time we talked after the first couple games, you said, spoiler alert, Kristaps isn't gonna score 30 points per game this year.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's true. But now we're back to looking at it. He gets 27 shots tonight. If we let him shoot 27 times a game, which we probably will since he's the best player on the team, I mean, Hardaway's going to get his shots. Cantor, like, you don't have to run the offense for him. He'll just get Porzingis misses.
Yeah.
So our top 3 scorers are two need their shots, and one of them will just figure it out on his own.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. He's not shooting great from 3 yet. He's shooting 29%.
That's a scary thought for the rest of the league.
That's going to go up. He's
Especially
getting
with the point guard too.
He's getting to the line a decent amount, about 8 times a game, which is good. He shoots about 77% from there. He's starting to block some shots. I mean, and man, talk about the eye test. Like, he's looked bouncy this year. He's like straight up trying to embarrass dudes almost. Like, he's going for these dunks that are like, I don't know. I think by the end of this year, I mean, even if he stays, 95% of what he's doing currently, I'm going to assume he's going to have a slump at some point just because he's been playing good basketball. But his post moves look nice. He was doing some stuff to your boy Kevin Love tonight, which was unorthodox. But I don't know. I think how we were coming into this season, waiting to see what Giannis was, is how we're going to feel going into next season about Porzingis.
Yeah.
I think he's taking a leap, and then because of this leap, the world's going to be saying, what's next from this? Because he could be so special.
Yeah, I know. Well, first, let me start off by letting the listeners know that I hate Kevin Love.
Right.
Just so you all know. So Jake was just kidding about that. But with Porzingis, I know Kenny, my brother, fellow podcaster.
Yeah.
He talks about Porzingis just shooting over people. And tonight you saw that. Over LeBron, over Tristan Thompson, over Kevin Love. He's like, I'm taller than all of you. All I need to do is get squared up, and then I could shoot a jumper. And then with Kevin Love, he had, the crossover in the corner, and then he just hit the jumper in his eye.
Yep.
That was good. It was a good play. I mean, he hit the 3 toward the end to kind of clinch it, and then he had the scoop layup to like really put him away.
Yeah, couple nice post moves on Love, and man, we will give Kenny his love. Man, it's because it's funny, like that Dirk fadeaway that became his signature was like, wow, this 7-foot German guy is pulling up and fading away and just getting buckets. Like, Porzingis is like, he doesn't even have to fade away. He's just taking a normal fit, like
square up, and
like
just shoot it over.
It literally looks like his mentality coming into the season was like, a coach told him, like, dude, you can take your normal jump shot, and as long as someone doesn't get a running leap at you, it's not going to be blocked.
Yeah.
That's how he's shooting. And I've been looking for like his signature move. Like I mentioned the Dirk fadeaway, like the LeBron dunk. It might just be being tall and shooting over a person.
Yeah. I mean, I'm up for that. You know,
Never been my
I got a crazy thought for you.
Sure.
Kristaps is the same height as Hasheem Thabeet.
Yeah.
Imagine.
UConn great.
Yeah, like Hasheem Thabeet could like dunk the ball.
About it.
And he couldn't do that well enough to last. Good guy. We love him.
We love him.
But Kristaps that big and he's dribbling and shooting threes.
The league's in like a freaky state right now. Like it was always a freak league. So I thought about this the other day, and this is a little heavy, but like, so kind of post MJ era, it went into kind of ISO ball and like who is freakier, like Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, like those guys. Like it was like who could get the coolest dunk, who could do stuff like that. And then like I'd say basketball in the past like decade has now gone to Spurs/Warrior basketball, where it's like really great movement. They're measuring that kind of stuff, spacing the floor, et cetera, et cetera. Now I think that's kind of plateaued a little bit. And now we're adding that with the freaks, and it's getting scary.
Yeah.
Like
you got your Giannis, your LeBron, your Kristaps.
I mean, Durant gets overlooked.
Durant.
He gets overlooked because of what LeBron is. Like, imagine if you dropped Durant or Porzingis or Giannis in like the 1970s. Like guys would be straight up scared. Like, yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how people let big guys develop now, right? Because big guys are going to want to shoot all over the court. That's like part of their job title now. I don't know. Brooke Lopez is Boogie Cousins should be in the 3-point contest this year. So
I think during the Nets game, Mozgov took a 3, and the announcer said like, "Oh, he's trying to add that to his game." And then the other announcer's like, "Yeah, every big man is trying to add that to the game now."
Yeah, it's like a requirement. And it was funny because they were like, just let Mozgov shoot that all night, because no way is he going to make enough threes to beat you.
Yeah.
Which that's going to be interesting to watch too, as the big guys that fail from the outside, are they just going to flake out of the league, or will a coach make an adjustment? I don't know. That's if you like that kind of talk, tune into a lot of basketball Wednesday mornings, and we cover all that good junk. But right now we're talking Knicks.
Yeah, and Stranger Things.
And Stranger Things. And right now I'm talking in my Jim Rome voice. But, let's skip forward the awards, which you might be screwed because I sent you the notes last second. But while I talk, I'll let you brood a little bit. And I had to steal this one because it's something I'm so passionate about. I almost had tears running through my eyes after the Brooklyn game, after what Jarrett Jack and Frank Ntilikina did. And that's my pride of the Knicks is Frank Nitti, French Sinatra, whatever you want to call him. Man, so you draft this kid from France, right? 18 years old. You're getting these Europe stats that are like, oh, yeah, Frank Ntilikina showed promise. He averaged 2-1-1 in 4 minutes. You're like, what? What's going on in European basketball? But we got to see him play this week for the first time, I think fully healthy. Like it was a little bit of rookie jitters and being healthy. Man, he showed the potential that you just need to see. You don't even know what it is. We didn't know if it was shooting. By the way, he's 2 for 5 on threes the past 2 games and showing a decent stroke. He's averaging 4 assists the past 2 games. He's passing the ball, and he's had a couple steals. And I mean, he showed some good vision. He had that nice pass to Kyle O'Quinn. He had the 50-foot pass tonight or whatever it was. Yep. He definitely has that vision, and it kind of gets you excited, right? Because you're saying okay, if he has these basic tools, then it turns into he's a 19-year-old. He needs to get some bulk. He needs to get some speed. I know that was one of the big concerns coming in, which you don't hear about point guards a lot. Right now, it doesn't look like the game's too fast for him, which I'd say is a good sign.
Yeah.
But man, I haven't crunched the numbers, but let's try to in a fun way think about it. So about 80 games, 2 times 8, so that's like 160. I mean, Frank Ntilikina being serviceable for 20 minutes a night is going to save us about 150 minutes of basketball. No, a lot more than that. Like, again, not a numbers guy, like 1,500 minutes.
We're not going to have to watch Sessions and Baker play as much anymore.
And that's the thing. If this kid struggles, you're still okay with it because you know he's the future. Like, watching Baker and Sessions out there was just, like, mind-numbing. You're like, how could a front office let this happen to a team? Like, sincerely.
Baker. Let me talk. Baker, he's our younger of the two. He's the young guy you're developing, and he can't dribble yet. Like, you're supposed to develop this earlier in your basketball career, Ron.
That's like almost the number one. And that's my final thoughts on Frank is just, the shot looks serviceable. The passing looks like it has top-notch NBA potential. He's got the length.
Yep.
I don't know. You don't have a scouting report on these guys. You didn't see them play in the NCAAs. You don't really know. And, like, it could be one of those things like the joke going around the internet before we realized Markelle Fultz was hurt was him shooting free throws. Like, it was the saddest thing in the world. Like, you're saying, how could you play basketball, get drafted, never mind the number one pick, and shoot free throws like that? But, like, Frank Nitti threw up a couple bricks in his first game there. But, like, if he came out and, like, wasn't able to get up the court or, like, hadn't drawn iron in a couple games, you're like, shit. Like, I don't know. What can – it turns into what can we mold him into? Can we make him a defensive piece that passes? Can we do this, that, and the other? After seeing what we saw this week, there's still that hope that, like, this guy could be, like, a star. I know it's way too early. I'm not saying that, but if he can pass and shoot a little bit with that size and length, dude could be the truth. So he's my pride of the Knicks, mostly because he's taking minutes from Sessions and Baker.
And I'll say a couple words about 11. That's
11.
Our Stranger Things reference. Frank's number 11. He's our 11.
We got to get some memes going about that.
Let's do it. That's how we'll get famous.
Done.
All right. And so we've seen him play defense, shoot, pass, all look like there's potential there. We just need to see him get to the rim and finish at the rim. Then we could have a legitimate superstar, but it doesn't. He hasn't even tried to do that yet, I would say. So, I mean, he hasn't needed to in these 2 games. So
yeah, and his mistakes were very rookie. He threw away just a couple lazy passes. His guys were sagging off him pretty hard, so that almost the passes were like right to his defender. Which, again, as a rookie player, that's gonna happen. And yeah, getting to the 10 will be interesting to see. A lot of rookies struggle with that because, again, it turns into muscle and finishing and all that. But
yep.
Thank you.
Let's go with his defense. I don't know if you saw him guard Dwayne Wade tonight for that one possession where he just he slapped it away. Dwayne Wade got it. He slapped it away again, and then someone else ended up fouling a different person. But that was how the play started, which was good. Great to see.
Yeah,
the defense was there. The standstill defense, 1-on-1, it was there. He tried to guard LeBron in transition. That didn't go well because
never does.
It was nobody could do that. But thanks for trying. Thanks for trying, Frank. I'll move on to my pride of the Knicks.
What do you got?
You're going to be surprised.
Okay.
Are you ready? Jeff Hornacek.
Okay.
Made a big move saying, hey, I'm going to start Jarrett Jack. Yeah. And I'm going to not play the 2 point guards I've been playing at all. They just completely took the 2 point guards out of the rotation. That's an unbelievable move, and it worked
Hilarious.
really, really well. And also, you got Willie in the game early against the Nets, which was good. Good to see.
Yeah.
I mean, Willie got the DNP tonight, but like I wasn't even that upset about it.
Yeah.
It was like he was actually coaching a close game, so he wasn't trying to develop people. Cantor was being a monster on the glass, so you're not going to cut into any Cantor minutes. I mean, and O'Quinn he didn't even play that much. I feel like I felt like Cantor was usually on the court, so and he was doing a great job. So there wasn't really time for Willie tonight, actually, which I don't think we had that problem when we were losing by 30 for the first 3 games.
Yeah.
But tonight, I'll respect your decision, Jeff. And then that second unit against the Nets, I think it was like Cantor, McDermott, Frank, Timmy, and somebody else. They looked good. That second unit was flowing. And being able to work the bench and make that better so the team doesn't completely fall apart when Kristaps isn't on the floor. That's just what we want.
Yeah, it like had to happen too, right? Because
it's Willie. Willie was the fifth, I think.
Okay. I mean,
Maybe.
the bench.
I don't know.
The bench. I don't know. And again, this was my hope going into the Boston game because their bench is currently depleted, and our bench has some fun guys, right? Like if you get Willie in there, you get Doug in there, Frank, like however you do it, you could have like a fun little crew out there. So luckily with some serviceable point guard play, we've been able to finally see that. But yeah, in the Brooklyn game, I think everyone had a positive plus minus. Not that should be the end of the day stat, but
look good.
Yeah, I like that, Greg. That's a good call. It will be interesting to see if the Knicks do start winning like at a 500 clip, if Hornacek feels like he's coaching for his job, and Willie's got 10 DNPs in a row, something like that. That's when I'd start questioning it. But you're right, and I laughed audibly because how many teams in the NBA could take literally their 2 players at the position and be like, nope, like
back to the drawing board.
I don't know. Golden State's like, oh, Durant and Iguodala, you guys are out.
Yeah.
We're bringing in some players.
Cole and Nick Young are going to play the minutes now. No, I got nothing. Forgot what I was gonna
like
say.
it. Well, I'll go on to my Dolan of the week, and kind of it's a mean one, so I don't like to harp on it unless it needs to. It had to be Ramon Sessions for me, and it feels dirty. Like the dude hasn't done anything wrong to me, but like when he's on the court, it feels empty. Like I feel hollow inside. Like I feel like Will from Stranger Things. No, too many Stranger Things. But like he doesn't do anything for me. He doesn't facilitate the offense. He's not really a shooter. He can drive decently. I guess I'll give him that. But he's not like a passer, and he's not good on defense. So like if you're on the court, I either need you, teaching the kids a little defense, or I need you moving the ball on offense or scoring the ball on offense. And man, Sessions just wasn't really bringing any of that. So you made the Chris Carter comparison for the Yankees. In my head, it's tough for me to see that's the other thing with Frank stepping up like that. Like, I don't think Sessions finished the year on the Knicks. Like, I don't know. I think they're vested in Baker because of the terrible contract. Jack's kind of doing his thing. Frank's kind of doing his thing. So I don't know. That's my negative rant.
Yeah, and we could just. I feel like the Knicks could ask everybody if somebody wants Ramon Session, we could give him away for free. Try to not pay the rest of that contract, which is the minimum anyway, and I'm sure Dolan wouldn't care either way. But
yeah,
Like save. We'll give you Ramon Sessions. You give us like $100,000 or something.
Anything, really.
Yeah.
Like a free Uber ride or something.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah.
I'll go with my Dylan of the week with Tim Hardaway Jr. Absolutely awesome tonight. We got to talk about that. We talked about that, but those other 2 games this week were not awesome. They were not awesome. 2 for 11 against the Celtics, 6 points. You're the second best player on the team. Don't do that. Let's see the number 4 for 12 against the Nets, 11 points. Again, do better than that. And then he did better than that tonight.
Yeah.
So that's why. Hey, great job, Tim. Me and Jake have been saying that you're just in a slump to start the season, and then you're gonna jump. You're jumping out of it, and you did it. So good job. You were the Dolan of the first half of the week, but now you're pretty much the Kristaps of the week. Maybe we should change the good one to the Kristaps of the week, and then never say it's Kristaps because it's already
like the Allen Houston of the week or something. Yeah. We this would have been I think this would have been like very sad if Tim Hardaway Jr. put up another stinker, because that would have been like, okay,
panic.
We might have another like horrid contract on the books for a high volume bad shooter. He was shooting like 25% up until this game. So this was huge, and with the Dolan of the week, or for talking Yanks, we did the mother fluffer of the week. I like it with a positive turn at the end. Like, man, this dude is really bad, but look at this. So
yeah,
THJ.
That's what I try to do there, like Will in Stranger Things. Now that reference actually doesn't make sense.
No, but we'll keep pushing it. It's the Stranger Things podcast. People get used to it. All right, so we got coming up next week from way downtown. Bang! That's a terrible voice. I can't do that. But 4 games next week, all home, unless I totally misread the schedule. But I believe we have the Nuggets, Houston, Phoenix, and Indiana at home. And it's one of those things, like, it's still – like, it's so early in the season in the NBA. Like, baseball is kind of funny that, like, you can't really judge teams until, like, the All-Star break. Because, like, you could think a team's good, and then they're, like, garbage. Like, I don't know. Detroit Tigers are normally a solid team. You play them early in the year, and you split a series. You're like, oh, that's a good team. And then end of the year, you're like, oh shit, they were bad.
They lost to the Tigers at the beginning of the year.
Like basketball team, you have a limited bell curve on what they can be. So, the Nuggets, solid young team. Houston, expect to be a competitor. Phoenix, an absolute dumpster fire. Indiana, like an optimistic dumpster. I shouldn't say that. That's a little harsh for Indiana. They're in a similar boat as the Knicks. They've got a couple young pieces they like. They've won a couple games. What do you think? I mean, and again, I'm still in this weird. I've been asking you guys like every other day, like, do we want to win? Like, where are we at? Like, how much do we want to win? I have no idea.
Yeah. Again, I'm never going to root for the Knicks to lose a game, but I wasn't dead inside when they did lose to start those first 3 games of the season. So,
right.
Like I said, I'm back to the drawing board. I'm back to the 8 seed.
Oh wow!
These 2 games have looked great. We just beat the Cavs. I know they lost the 2 games before that, but you'd think after losing the 2 games before that, you would be like, all right, we have to beat the Knicks. And Tyronn Lue is also horrible at his job. I'll start with Yeah, he's bad at coaching basketball. So maybe not. Maybe that's less encouraging win over the Cavs than
we're a David Blatt podcast.
Yeah, but I think the announcer said that the Knicks had lost 10 games in a row to the Cavs.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Yeah, and now the Cavs have lost 1 game in a row to the Knicks.
Boom, 114-95.
Well, let's see.
So we got Denver, Houston, Phoenix, Indiana. You think we split? You think we're 4-0 and we're going to Titletown? What do you got?
Houston's a loss. I got that.
Just like has to be.
Denver is streaky. Depends on what Denver shows up. I mean, they have better players than us, definitely. But the first couple games of the year, they've been either good or bad. So we'll see.
Yeah, they were noted for having their prolific offense at the end of last year, and it hasn't really showed up yet. I mean, they're on a 2-game win streak. They beat the Hawks and the Nets, two of the worst teams in the NBA, and now they're facing the Knicks. Sorry, our fans, but that's kind of the pivot game this week, right? Because like if you lose Denver, you're 99% losing Houston. And then you've got Phoenix, Indiana. So you think you're going to get one of those games, right?
Yeah, I mean, one and probably both.
You're leaning. It's
leaning toward both. You're going to beat Phoenix. You're planning on beating Phoenix, and then you'd say like what 55% against Indiana. Like we're
right.
pretty evenly matched.
That's where I think Denver's the swing game because I think if you win Denver, you're like, okay, Houston's going to be tough. Let's chuck some threes and hope for the best. But then you start looking at it like. If they beat Phoenix and Indiana, which they at home they very well like should, I kind of like Indiana's young guys, so I think they'll give us a game. Phoenix again, hot mess, but that Denver game has us eyeing a 3-1 week. Where if we lose it, now we're kind of looking at a 1-3 week, depending on how the Indiana game goes. So, I'll say. You know what, Greg? I'll feed the beast. Let's go. We're going 3-1.
I'm in. Let's do it.
I think we're running right now. We clip exactly what I said. We clip Denver. Houston beats us, and then we get Phoenix and Indiana. Why not? So there goes our lottery pick.
We just lost it this early in the year.
And again, that's what's killing me. Like if this team went 0-4 next week, like I'm not sad. This is kind of the best Knicks season ever.
I mean, other than like if we were actually good, yeah.
Right. Well, I haven't seen a lot of that, but all right. Well, Greg, what do you get? Any final thoughts? Anything in the offense or defense, or any players that you feel like we haven't mentioned yet that need a little more love?
Not really. I mean,
covered a lot.
Michael Beasley didn't play tonight. I don't know.
I was gonna say he's the only name we didn't mention that like. Sometimes he looks like the alpha male on the team, and other times it's like he's not a part of it.
Yeah, and again, Hornacek was just coaching in the flow of the game tonight. He wasn't just being robotic, like this is the time that I put Beasley in, this is the time that I put this guy in. He wasn't doing that. He was just, all right, this guy, whatever's working, and it was working. So he just went with it. And so you can't be mad about what he did tonight. Do we say anything about Damian Dotson? I mean, he's not really playing, but neither is Willie, who was first team all rookie last year. Yeah, and the thing about Damian Dotson is he is a second-round pick, and you'd like him to be good, but with like Clee Anthony early, we had high hopes, and it was like,
oof,
just wasn't good. It just didn't work out, and that's what happens with second-round picks. It's Kenny, fellow podcaster. He calls them lottery tickets.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You could get a Draymond Green or you could get a Clee Anthony early.
He loves this lottery ticket, though. I guess that's why I felt I had to bring it up.
Yeah.
I'd like to see – let's get a little Landry Fields out of Damian Dotson.
Yeah, I think we're looking for him to just be a knockdown shooter. I don't know. That was his reputation I've heard thus far.
He's tough to be a rookie knockdown shooter.
Is he like he's like 23, right, or something?
He was born in 1994. He's 23. Yeah, so he's a little old for NBA. He's older than Kristaps.
So I mean, I guess they want him to contribute sooner rather than later. I guess with a pick like that.
That's so crazy.
Maybe try to get him. Hornacek gets him in garbage time. That's when you can play him at this point.
Yeah, and I guess my what to watch for is that tomorrow night is a back-to-back. So maybe Hornacek starts playing that up a little bit with like Willie's minutes, guys like Damian Dotson, some of the younger guys.
Yeah, with the back-to-back, don't be surprised if you see Sessage and Baker playing point guard and then Frank and Jarechek at the night off, right?
No, we better not. We're
I don't know, man.
undefeated
Yeah.
with Jack and Frank, right?
Yeah. It's working.
Hope that becomes a new drink in the city. But,
Jack and Frank.
well, I think that's all we got, folks. We appreciate you listening. We've had a little over 100 listeners on each of the first couple podcasts, and we're just gonna keep growing until we're doing the damn thing, and you see us on TV instead of Skip Bayless.
You know what we didn't talk about was when Steve and Lucas were just hanging out during Stranger Things. I was like, what is this? How did this pair come in together?
That was actually a great part of Steven Stranger Things.
Like, what is this?
That was I texted you about that because some of the humor there was grade A, clean humor with what was going on there. So subscribe to Stranger Things 2 podcast. No, this is
thanks for talking Stranger Things tonight.
This is Talking Knicks, where we usually talk about some of the Stranger Things. But yeah, subscribe, follow, do whatever. We do some post-game recaps, and we usually tweet during the game. So, hey, if you like some Knicks, maybe you like us. I don't know. So we appreciate you. Go Knicks or don't. Again, wherever you stand on that. And we'll be catching up with you guys soon.
Great job.